Welcome to the Ingress Insights podcast, hosted by PkmnTrainerJ. Ingress Insights is a podcast about the Niantic game Ingress. Listen each week for the latest news, updates and rumours. Let us know your thoughts by leaving a voice message or emailing us at the links in the show notes.
Additional intel available.
Hello agents and welcome to episode 88 of the Ingress Insights podcast. This week we're going over all the anomaly bits that I didn't cover last time, such as the skirmish, as well as the final results for the Plus Alpha Anomaly series. There's also been lots of lore drops and updates on Niantic's post, and a member of the team has left Niantic. So we'll go through and cover all of that and then look ahead to April as well, because we're getting towards the end of March now, and then see what awaits us for that month. So first up, as I normally do, I'll go through the Plus Alpha news for this series, and then we'll get into further details there.
Hi, this is HP Rulola, and you're listening to the Ingress Insights podcast.
First up for Plus Alpha news, I didn't cover this last time because I recorded a little earlier than usual, so it actually hadn't happened by that time. These are the skirmish results for the AMER region that happened on March the 15th. So just to go through all the cities and the shards and the points scored there. So for Victoria in Canada, it was 24 shards to Enlightened at 0 to Resistance. So that was 16.8 points there to Enlightened, obviously 0 to Resistance. In Guadalajara, Mexico, it was a bit closer with 10 shards to Enlightened at 12 to Resistance. So that was 7 points for Enlightened, 8.4 for Resistance. In Oklahoma, it was 16 shards to Enlightened versus 2 to Resistance. So that's 11.2 points there for Enlightened, 1.4 for Resistance. In Panama City, in Panama, it was 1 shard only for Enlightened versus 13 to Resistance. So only 0.7 points there for Enlightened versus 9.1 for Resistance. In Piura, Peru, it was 14 shards for Enlightened, 11 for Resistance. So that's 9.8 points to Enlightened from there and 7.7 to Resistance. Norfolk in the USA was an even split, so 11 shards each, so 7.7 points to each faction from that. In Orono in the US, it was 7 shards to Enlightened versus 8 for Resistance, so that was a bit closer. And then 4.9 points there to Enlightened, 5.6 to Resistance. In Tampa, Florida, again in the US, it was 15 shards to Enlightened, 3 to Resistance. That's 10.5 points there for Enlightened, 2.1 for Resistance. In Ascunion, which I've definitely said wrong, in Paraguay, it was 19 shards to Enlightened versus 0 to Resistance. So that's 13.3 points there for Enlightened, obviously 0 for Resistance. In Buenos Aires in Argentina, it was 14 to Enlightened for the shards and 7 shards for Resistance. So 9.8 points there for Enlightened, 4.9 to Resistance. In Coquimbo in Chile, it was 18 shards for Enlightened, 1 for Resistance. So that's 12.6 points there for Enlightened versus 0.7 for Resistance. And then finally for the shard skirmish for Goiânia in Brazil, Enlightened didn't get any shards, so they got no points. Resist got 24 shards, so they got 16.8 points from that. There was 1 beacon skirmish, so for that was in Champaign, Illinois in the US. For that one, Enlightened got 358 beacon points versus Resistance's 304 beacon points. So that meant overall Enlightened got 8.950 season points, Resist got 7.600 season points. So a few of those that were close, a few of them were very clearly one-sided and one draw, so it's more interesting for the AMER region, and that was the last skirmish for the Plus Alpha Anomaly series as well. For the action in Nepal, it was the APAC region's turn to have their bounty blitz, so that was where you were trying to complete the most number of bounties you could for your faction. This ended up being a very close bounty blitz, so it was just won by Enlightened, who got 50.8 points from it, versus Resist getting 49.2 points. This is the first bounty blitz I think that Enlightened have won. Usually it's Resistance that win these bounty blitzes, and it's very close. and that helped to contribute to the overall score. Obviously, the main focus people want to know about is the Nepal anomaly, which happened on the 22nd of March. So I'll go through the details for that. For the anomaly in Nepal, I'm not going to go through all the details for the waves and everything like that. I will mention, however, that there was a few covert caches claimed. So there was one rare percentage boost claimed by Enlightened, as well as one common percentage boost claimed by Resistance, as well as one very rare percentage boost claimed by Resistance. And then for season point drops, Enlightened got one rare season point drop covert cache. Resistance got one common season point covert cache. So overall, the score in Nepal was 97.1 points to Enlightened versus 110.5 points to Resistance. This does mean that the overall score for the Plus Alpha Anomaly series was Enlightened 966 points, Resistance 670.1 points. So Enlightened won the first Anomaly series for 2025. And then we do have the Plus Theta series coming up that will be running throughout Q2. And we've already got details of a few little bits on there. I assume we'll get more details as we start to get closer to the first anomaly and the Bounty Blitz, as well as the global campaign that's happening for that. And then just one final little bit of anomaly news to wrap things up on this section. From now until the end of the month, 31st of March, all the Anomaly Series badges for Plus Alpha are available in the store. They're all 30,800 CMU. They come with the badge with 5 rare kinetic capsules and 2 portal fracas. Just to recap on that, so there's the 3 supporter medal kits. So there's the Plus Alpha supporter medal, the Plus Alpha core supporter medal, the Plus Alpha elite supporter medal, and then there's the Plus Alpha loadout kits with Misty Hannah, Devra Bogdanovich, and Oliver Linton Wolf. For Devra and Oliver, there are the previous badges, so Devra's badge from 2019, and Oliver Linton Wolf's medal is from 2016. Again, all 30,800 CMU, but they're all available until the end of the month. So if you've been waiting to get paid to pick up some CMU or something like that, you can then get the badges and add those to your profile, and they can be all nice and shiny there for you. So that's about it now for the Plus Alpha Anomaly series. As I said, it's now ended. We don't have a bonus week or anything like that. So for now, I'll move into regular Ingress news. We've got a bit to cover in there as well.
What's up? This is Smooth Guy O, and you listen to the Ingress Insight podcast.
In the past few days, it seems like the Ingress team have picked up the lore that we've not had for a little while for the Memory series. So first of all, they shared a previously on media, which you get from hacking portals. This is actually an old media item that we saw during the Kronos operation. So if you go back and look at its previous episodes, we call like Kronosing till Christmas, things like that. I do cover the content of that message in there. I'm not going to repeat that one, but I'll just say it did start about attacking Machina having consequences and what things may change. However, we have had 4 new media items. They do seem to come from the Cryptic Memory series, which is already passed. So whether Niantic were waiting to give us more detail after the Scopely thing was sorted out and they weren't allowed to release it, whatever, or whether we're gearing up to see things change and maybe go back to Anomaly series in future, is not very clear. But I'll go through the 4 that we've had so far. We may have more drop by the time this episode comes out, and I'll cover those next time. This first one was labelled Cryptic 01, and it comes from Dr. Akira Tsuka. And she writes, entry for Dimensional Shift Trial, December 29th, 2023. I keep coming back to the same problem. Quantum data conspires to defy classical observation. Nothing will ever prove quite solid. Not to my satisfaction. Every time I approach an answer, it falls apart like a truth I can almost touch before it slips away. Deborah wants me to hold back. She tells me that the data we're getting is meaningful, that good science takes time and caution. That is her way. I trust her, but I can't let her hold this back. We're standing at the door that I never believed I could build. All that's left is to step through, to see it with my own eyes, to prove, to discover. I know the portals have hidden potential. Every particle we've sent through, every experiment we've run, it validates what we've already known. XM flows like a signal, waiting, but it's dormant, passive. To activate it, we push it to become something more, with the scanner with resonators and links and fields, but Machina is different. It behaves, it initiates, it has a goal, and the data suggests that it transcends dimensions of that pursuit. It's coming from somewhere. If I chase it, I know there will be answers. More questions, of course, but the answers will follow. Deborah's voice is still in my head, telling me to slow down, to think of the risks, the unintended consequences. What if these anomalous portals, these disturbances we've seen, are actually warning signs? What if Machina is responding to us already? I don't know, but I need something verifiable. Every time we approach a breakthrough, it slips away, buried in probabilities and superpositions. I can't just sit here and analyse shadows. I've decided to go through with performing the experimental dimension shift on the only observation system I trust, myself. The moment is here. Deborah has overcome her fears to be with me for this. I've never had a better partner, and the stakes feel higher than ever. What lies on the other side? What will we see? Will we be the first to witness a different reality? Will we find Machina's source? Or will we be left sitting on the lab floor laughing like fools? I don't know, but I know that when we truly discover how to bridge dimensions, our understanding of time, space, and possibility will converge, and will unlock a new potential that will transform everything. Enough talking for this entry. I'm going down to the lab. Deborah's probably already there, nursing the ulcers caused by my risk tolerance, I'm sure. What a friend and ally she has become. If this is my final entry, well, to those that follow, take my research and use it, find my errors and fix them, propel us forward, never stop. That is what it means to truly be a scientist. The next piece of media is called Cryptic 2. It doesn't say who's written it, but it does come from IQ Tech, one of the organisations within the Ingress law. The subject is XM artifact propagation analysis, and the overview states the artifact designated redacted continues to defy expectations. Its behavior reveals XM's incredible potential as a force, not just reactive but self-sustaining, a quality I can only describe as awe-inspiring. This artifact seems almost alive in the way it interact with the portal network, creating cascading resonance patterns that ripple outward with elegant precision. It is as though the artifact is seeking something, reaching for a missing piece to complete its purpose. Artifact's effect on propagation. The artifact initiates what I can only describe as self-sustaining resonance. This behavior activates dormant portals nearby in waves that expand like a heartbeat. These cascading activations are eerily systematic, almost like an algorithm unfolding across the portal network. In trials, the spread mimics an epidemiological event, a phenomenon both beautiful and daunting in its scope. To contain its spread, we've established a perimeter of level 8 portals, though I can't help but wonder what this phenomenon might reveal on a larger scale if allowed to roam freely. Distinct behaviour from known red portals. At first glance, these portals resemble the infamous red portals linked to high concentrations of dark XM, but that resemblance is only superficial. The portals influenced by this artifact possess a unique recursive quality, an innate self-propagating nature that doesn't rely on dark XM conditions. Instead, they seem to seek opportunity paths among neutral portals, extending outward without measurable decay. It's as if the artifact is enabling them with both purpose and method. Unusual patterns and the dual nature hypothesis. The artifact emits a repeating glyph sequence, mesmerizing its complexity, yet there are missing intervals in the sequence like gaps in a melody waiting to be completed. Could this mean the artifact is part of a pair, yearning for its counterpart to fulfill its purpose? This dual nature hypothesis raises profound questions. If a missing piece exists, uniting the two might unlock the artifact's full potential, revealing XM's deeper programmed or perhaps programmable properties. Implications for XM systems and research. This artifact challenges much of what we thought we knew about XM. I can't help but wonder, is this evidence that XM is not just reactive, a layer through which the signal propagates and which our scanners can transform, but something capable of modifying itself and executing actions? When affected by the artifact, it behaves as if it has a purpose, a design. Could this be harnessed to build, create, or even perfect? If we can understand the artifact's code, we might glimpse XM's true potential as a force of transformation. I find myself consumed by this. The missing piece feels tantalizingly close. I've identified a glyph sequence directly related to the anomalies. We've assigned the codename Machina to this phenomenon. It feels appropriate, mechanical, methodical, and enigmatic, but I can't shake the feeling there's something more, something alive, waiting for us to uncover it. Next up we have Cryptic 03. This is a resistance agent report from the XM Protection Network by Takumi, and the subject is Portal Anomalies Investigation. Overview. Over the past several days, I've obtained a rise in portal anomalies within my portal patrol area. XM level fluctuations have never been observed in this area before, but the portals here now seem to be displaying erratic behaviour that I cannot yet explain. This behaviour is different from the red portal incidents we encountered in prior operations. The activity is heightened near Redacted Hospital. A witness made an incident report about strange disruptions and 2 women arriving under peculiar circumstances near that location. The implication of arrival is unclear, still investigating this and any possible connection to the portal anomalies, although the timing is suspicious. Portal behaviour and observations. Unlike previous events where red portals presented strong but short-term XM abnormalities, these anomalies are evolving in unpredictable ways, almost influenced by an external source. It's not the same phenomenon, but it is nonetheless unsettling. Whatever is at play here isn't a simple XM reaction. The energy shifts are erratic, as if spreading outward with almost an intentional force, and the centre of the anomalous pattern seems to move as if it's following something. Hospital incident. Detailing what I mentioned above, a call was received from Redacted, reporting an unidentified woman being admitted to ICU after an unusual accident. While the medical staff avoided specifics, multiple agent accounts suggested disruptions in electronic devices and localised disturbances near the hospital's portal. Agents noted flickering lights, skipping sounds, and the heightened awareness consistent with anomalous XM influence. I was tasked by my chief to serve as police liaison for this incident, a fortunate turn since this spares me fighting for position with another member of the department who may not be as well integrated with Ingress agents. Collaboration with enlightened affiliate Makoto. Given the escalation and the unpredictable spread of these anomalies, I've reached out to the freelance investigator Makoto Midorikawa. Despite our faction differences, we've collaborated in the past, and his central role during the prior Red Portal event has earned him a lot of credibility. My dual role as a resistance agent and police officer will enable me access to vital intel, and he will bring his unique talents, which defy logic but nonetheless have proven useful time and time again. While I remain cautious of Makoto's enlightened alignment, his ability to see into the past through XM will be a vital asset. I wouldn't be surprised if he already has an idea what these anomalies could mean. Next steps. Makoto and I will begin following the trail of anomalies surrounding the hospital, tracing any connections between the portal disturbances, the woman in the hospital, and the arrival incident report. My suspicion is that these incidents may signal a larger issue affecting at minimum our local portal network and possibly extending further. Whatever it is, I'm going to get to the bottom of it and will keep regional informed as this develops. Then the final bit of lore media that we have for now, which is linked to the previous one, is Cryptic 04. This is an interrogation record between an anonymous witness report on portal behaviour, and the investigator is Officer Takumi and Makoto is assisting. Takumi, okay, the recording's now on. For the record, this is investigator Takumi and consulting detective Midorikawa. Please start from the beginning again. You said you were just passing by and noticed something strange. Witness, yeah, I was just heading to the bus stop near the hospital. These 2 women, they just appeared like the world got edited. I thought maybe something was wrong with my eyes, but then I realised they looked dazed, out of place, scared even, like they didn't know where they were. Makoto, they looked lost. Can you describe what they were doing? Did anything else happen? Witness, one of them, the one with, I think she had red hair, she was completely out of it. I didn't know what to do. But then there was this pulse. It felt like everything around me for a second, lights, sounds, even the air, felt different. I'm sorry, I don't have the words to describe this, but it was such a strong feeling. Takumi, different how? What looked different? What did it sound like? Witness, I don't know how to explain it. It was just this quick moment, almost like a glitch in my memory. I don't know if it happened, but when I try to remember the moment, it's like everything is strange. I wouldn't even believe it if I wasn't there for this. Makoto, that's an interesting watch. Where'd you get it? What? Hang on a second. Witness, I know, I found it. It was just lying there in the street near where they appeared. Look at the time. Makoto, how is that happening? The watch, it's showing 2 times at once. Are you seeing this? Give it to me, please. Takumi, do you see anything, Makoto? Witness, what's happening to him? Hey, are you okay? Makoto, 2 women, lost in the rain. No, more than lost, but there's something strange here. These memories, they're disjointed, broken, like they're pieces from 2 different puzzles that got mixed together. They don't fit. They're from the wrong puzzle. The women, the ambulance took them? Witness, one of them, the other, she disappeared when the ambulance got here. And before you ask, no, I couldn't get a look at her face. Makoto, Takumi, there's something very off about this. Even holding the watch, it feels unstable. When I looked through it, it felt like my head was somehow being pulled from opposite ends. I didn't like it. Takumi, our next stop is the hospital. If one of them was taken there, that's where we'll find our answers. I know that was a lot of information to get through from those 4 media items. Agents did comment that we hadn't had any lore updates from the Memories series, so it seems they are now all coming through from Cryptic Memories, which is also when we started getting badges from Ingress the animation and having Makoto there that's in their series, and obviously the hospital portal is one of the first ones he goes to visit. And presumably the two are Akira and Devra that have somehow been pulled into the anime universe. I think on one of my previous episodes I said, are we now in that universe because the badge is coming through? So maybe it'll be interesting to see how this evolves and whether it was affecting anything previously. We're now past the memory series, we've finished up Erased Memories and now moved into all the plus alpha plus theta stuff. It's also interesting that it confirms that IQ Tech created Machina and gave it that name, because before we didn't really know where it had come from. So that's another interesting layer to the story so far. So yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes and whether we get more of these cryptic memories drops, or whether we start to go into the other memory series as well. And it's a bit strange that it's not happened before now. Maybe they were waiting for all the stuff with Scopely and Antic Spatial to complete. But I'm glad we at least have some lore now. We're progressing back along and getting more involved in the story again. It's very nice. If you've got any thoughts yourself on where you think the lore's going, do leave them in the comments and let me know. That would be good. I'm going to have to move on to some more somber stuff now regarding Niantic Spatial and read out a email from John Hankey that was posted on the Niantic blog. On the 20th of March, the Niantic Labs blog updated with a post titled Evolving Niantic Spatial Inc. Today, John Hankey shared the following email with Niantic employees. Niantic, as I shared last week, Niantic is splitting into 2 companies with the acquisition of our games business and team and the spin-off of our technology platform into Niantic Spatial Inc. Thank you for your patience as we work through the structure of the new company we are creating, which will be a more focused organisation dedicated to delivering on the promise of geospatial AI. As we embark on our new journey as Niantic Spatial, we need to operate as a startup organisation focused on the road ahead. We carefully evaluated the structure we believe is needed for the new company, and after a lot of consideration it became clear that some roles would not be required given our new focus. This week we are sharing this news with the individuals whose roles are impacted. These decisions are never easy, they in no way reflect the individual's performance, and we understand their impact on people's lives. We deeply appreciate the talented individuals who helped us get here and for their many contributions, and we will support them as they transition to new opportunities. I wanted to go over that blog post before I got on to the next part, so I'll read out a few bits here from a few channels that have posted very similar messages. This round of layoffs, restructuring, however you want to term it, does include Niantic Thea, known also as Thea Hightower. She was the community specialist and operations manager, I think was her most recent role. So she was unfortunately been let go from Niantic. She then deleted her Telegram account, Telegram channel, and Twitter account that were all under Niantic Thea. She joined the Ingress team in June 2021. As many people said, she was a good link between Niantic and the community. She posted regularly on the forums when she first started off and would obviously pick up with agents on things like Mission Day, Anomalies, various things like that. So I hope that you find something new Niantic Thea that you enjoy, and then that you go forward from there and able to take on anything you've learned from your time at Niantic and the Ingress team. It just sucks because now we don't have a community manager or operations manager for Ingress, so I don't know what the plan going forward is and what the player ambassador program that was mentioned is going to be, how that's going to work. Obviously, Niantic Spatial have restructured how they want and what they think is best, but who knows what that means for the Ingress community going forward. Say, not important right now. The important thing is that those that have been laid off, let go, obtain new roles, still keep the money coming in. So best of luck with anyone's job search who has been unfortunately laid off as part of this. Then a few final technical bits. The Niantic team have published their Digital Services Act transparency reports. So these exist for each game and service. Mostly they cover the EU because that's where the Act is coming in. And some of the data in there is global, but you'll be able to see a report that I'll link in the show notes on each game and Wayfarer as well. Lists a few interesting things about Wayfarer's ML system, reports in the games, and what actions are taken, and when things have been appealed, overturned, anything like that. So I'll link to the form as well, like I say, and then you can click on each individual game and service and see further details in there. Might be of interest to you, might not, so I'm not going to read through the whole pages and pages of reports. You can do that yourselves. Depending on how much attention you pay to other Niantic games or creators, anything like that. You might have seen there's a few interviews that have gone around with Ed Wu from the Pokemon Go team answering some questions, Michael Stranker from the Pokemon Go team answering some questions about how things will change under Scopely. As yet, I haven't seen anyone cover Ingress and Peridot, how things will be under Niantic Spatial, whether there'll be any changes there. Obviously, there's been the restructuring as mentioned, so there presumably will be some changes. I'll share here that I have reached out to Niantic's press team just to see if they can answer some questions, and they've basically given me the response of not yet. So hopefully I can speak to them on the podcast, get some answers and updates. So if there's anything you want to know about Niantic Spatial that I can maybe ask, send them in as comments or emails, anything like that, and I'll see what I can do. Obviously, I've got my own questions. I've got ideas about what the community want to know if it happens, so I can only ask again when they've said I can recontact them basically whilst they sort things out. But I didn't want Ingress to get forgotten whilst everything else is being highlighted, because we're all affected too by this. And I think that's about it now for regular Ingress news. I've just got a little bit of Wayfarer news, so I'll get into that next.
This is Shimon, former community manager for the Witcher Monster Slayer, and you're listening to Ingress Insights.
Before I get into Wayfarer news, obviously Wayfarer was included in the sale to Scopely. What that means for Ingress, I don't know yet, whether we'll also be able to do nominations, edits, everything that we normally do, or whether the map will be static. I've mused on this before. Obviously, if we don't keep Wayfarer access, then I won't have a Wayfarer section going forward, unless people really want it. That being said, the little bit of news that I've got is on March the 21st, users opened the Wayfarer app, which is still available on iOS's test flight, to see a white screen when it went to load up the map. Some users did report that the map did eventually load, but it now just comes up with error fetching way spots and doesn't function at all. It did still have a little under 3 weeks left on it being available, but it seems like this may be the final end of the Wayfarer app. The Wayfarer app was already discontinued on Android, and Niantic Tintino said it would be depreciated. Whether it's done by Scopely, or whether it's changed at Niantic Spatial, or whether whoever was maintaining the app was let go in the restructuring, we don't know, but it doesn't seem to work now. So unfortunately, there's no map that shows you all the way spots that's easily accessible now. Obviously, when nominating Ingress, you can now seal the nearby way spots, but if you want to go look somewhere further away, or if there's people helping out on the Wayfarer forums, anything like that, it's a little more tricky now to do. We are still waiting again on the Wayfarer Q1 challenge. Whether that involves Ingress agents, I don't know. Whether we'll be participating, whether it's been delayed or pushed back, whether we'll still get bonus resets, no idea. But I just want to say we are still waiting on some kind of update on a global challenge. There was the Pokemon Go only challenge for India and Chile, which I mentioned how I don't like those challenges previously. But yeah, in a bit of a weird place at the moment for Wayfarer and Ingress. But that's all I've got on those sections, so I'll move on and get things wrapped up now.
Hey, this is Sim, Global Product Marketing Lead for Peridot, and you're listening to Ingress Insights.
Thank you, agents, for listening to this episode of the Ingress Insights podcast. Usually I'd say what we're going through next time, but next time I might try and take a week's break and just give you a previously recorded episode. If I don't do that, though, what I'll be doing is going through April's schedule in a bit more detail, as well as covering any of the media drops we've had come in, because I assume we'll get a few more. as well as going over any updates we get for the Plus Data Anomaly series, Wayfarer, and anything else Ingress, Niantic Spatial adjacent. But whatever you're doing this Sunday, hope you have a great day, hope you have fun, and happy hacking, agents. Thank you, agents, for listening to the latest episode of the Ingress Insights podcast. If you'd like to follow us on social media, you can do that on a few channels. So on Threads under the name ingress.insights, on Instagram under the name ingress.insights as well. Our Twitter/X, which posts episodes of the podcast, is under Ingress Insights, no dot in that one. And you can also watch these episodes on YouTube under Ingress Insights Podcast. You can send us a voice message by visiting the podcaster's Spotify page. And finally, you can buy Ingress Insights merch, such as mugs, pins, t-shirts, by going to epublic.com/user/ingress-insights. And on there, you'll see all the designs that we've got listed at the moment. There are some new ones that will be coming up at some point soon, but you can buy your Ingress Insights mug, hats, t-shirts, tote bags, anything like that you want. Thank you again for listening. Hope you tune in next week. If you do like the show, please do rate it on the podcast service you're listening to. I look forward to speaking with you all about Ingress again.
Intel package transferred.